Discover the amazing moment that transformed her wedding loneliness in a heartwarming love revealed at a small-town wedding. The church bells rang, drowning the sound of Megan's heart pounding against her chest. She stepped inside, feeling a rush of nostalgia wash over her. Rows of pews sparkled under a canopy of fairy lights, each flicker igniting memories of childhood hopes and dreams. Love danced in the air, but for Megan, it was a bittersweet symphony. Everyone seemed to twirl effortlessly into their future, while she stood frozen, half-shrouded in shadows, grappling with a weight she couldn't shake. "Why am I even here?" she murmured to herself, clutching her phone like a lifebuoy. Friends and family filled the hall, planning their dream weddings, yet she remained apart, an observer in a sea of joy. As she served drinks at the reception, laughter bubbled around her, while her own smile felt like a mask slipping just beneath the surface. She yearned for connection, hoping for her own radiant moment to unfold amid the celebration, yet nothing ever came. Her 30th birthday loomed nearer, a stark reminder of time marching on while she was left behind. For Megan, entering another wedding season alone felt like a heavy predicament, a painful contrast to the love stories blooming all around her. Just as the weight of despair threatened to pull her under, the music shifted, and her moment of reckoning approached. Suddenly, amidst the crowd, she collided with a stranger, Jack. Sparks ignited in their brief connection, a magnetic pull that felt both exhilarating and terrifying. His smile was genuine, holding the warmth of 1,000 shared stories, and as they exchanged pleasantries, the loneliness began to dissipate. Jack wasn't just any ordinary guy. He was a mechanic with a past of overcoming struggles. Raised by a single mother, he carried both the resilience and vulnerability that resonated with Megan. Here, under the twinkling lights, they spun tales of hardship and hope that wove together a tapestry rich with understanding. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Megan hardly registered the clinking glasses around them. Her heart was racing. The tension grew, a pulse that echoed the fast beat of new love. She could feel small-town whispers slicing through the air. Judgments lingered in sidelong glances, making every shared laugh and light touch feel like a challenge. Could love flourish here, amidst so many eyes? Those questions wove through her mind as she dared to lean closer to Jack, their worlds seemingly colliding into something beautiful yet fraught with uncertainty. As the night unfolded, they found themselves drawn to each other, sharing a dance that drowned out the cynicism swirling around them. Wrapped in each other's arms, the world faded away, but the disapproving murmurs clawed at the edges of their bliss. Could their connection survive the sting of prejudice and expectations? With every turn and sway to the music, they risked everything because beneath it all, genuine love was pure magic, a light worth pursuing even in the darkest of nights. Yet, as they smiled, the specter of a family member emerged from the crowd, bringing with him the tension of shattered hopes that could unravel everything they had begun to build. Megan's heart raced, and in the span of a heartbeat, everything they felt hung in the balance. Would they seize this strange magic, or would fear push them apart? The air crackled, leaving Megan daunted yet hopeful, standing at the threshold of a love that promised to change everything. Megan's breath caught in her throat as she recognized her aunt, Laura, weaving through the crowd with an expression that could slice through steel. Laura was a force of nature, known for her unfiltered opinions and keen disapproval of anything she deemed unworthy. Megan felt as if the joyous atmosphere morphed into a suffocating fog, each melody of laughter suddenly distant and strange. "Is that who I think it is?" Jack whispered, watching the impending confrontation unfold. His voice was calm, but the twitch in his brow said he felt the weight of her apprehension. Megan nodded, forcing a smile, though it felt brittle against the oncoming turbulence. This was not how the magical evening should play out. The ethereal dance they shared, the spark that flickered between them, it all hung in the balance of her aunt's judgment. "Hey, Megan," Laura called, her volume cutting through the music. Guests turned their heads, quiet whispers echoing as they caught sight of the family drama looming on the dance floor. "Hi, Aunt Laura," Megan replied, voice trembling slightly. Jack's presence next to her felt like a tether to sanity, but she couldn't help but fear the disapproval that would inevitably follow. "Nice to see you, young man," Laura said, barely glancing at Jack before her focus fell back on Megan. "Are you seriously wasting your time here, flitting between couples? Should you be focusing on something more responsible?" The tension snapped around them. Megan felt Jack stiffen beside her, an instinctive reaction to the insult aimed at her. It was as if someone had thrown a bucket of cold water on their budding connection, dousing the warmth that had just begun to bloom. Megan struggled against the tide of embarrassment, a wave of self-doubt crashing over her. "Aunt Laura, are you still single and fabulous?" Laura interrupted, her tone dripping with sarcasm. "I thought by now you'd have settled down. It's about time you make your parents proud, don't you think?" The laughter around them dulled to a murmur, spectators sensing the friction. Jack's hand gently squeezed hers, grounding her at that moment. "Aunt Laura, this is Jack," she finally said, her voice stronger than she felt. "We just met." "Just met?" Laura raised an eyebrow, dismissing the significance of their shared moment like it was a fleeting shadow. "This is what you want? Some random guy?" Megan's heart raced, battling unhelpful feelings of shame and anger. The truth was Jack was anything but random. He saw her in a way no one else had in a long time. The memory of their dance danced at the back of her mind, and she fought the urge to retreat. Actually, Jack spoke up, his voice steady and unyielding. "Megan and I connected in a way that's hard to put into words. We can't really define what is or isn't worth it." Megan turned to Jack. His boldness widened the crack in the protective shell she wore. She saw strength, and it filled her with something powerful hope. "A connection, huh?" Laura said cynically, crossing her arms. "You don't know what you're getting into, Megan. You're better than this." Just at that moment, the music shifted again, the band launching into an upbeat tune. Megan's heart surged. She wanted to drown out the negativity, feel the magic that had just begun with Jack. "Let us dance," she said, surprising herself. "Come on." Jack raised his eyebrows in surprise, but then broke into a grin. He took her hand, and they stepped away from the prying eyes, allowing the rhythm to pull them back into their moment. As they twirled on the dance floor, Megan couldn't shake the feeling of freedom mingling with dread. The whispers persisted, but the way Jack moved with her felt like a shield against it all. What would happen when the music stopped? Would those gazes still haunt them? Yet, in that twinkling chaos of lights and laughter, there was a spark of courage. She could either face the whispers that loomed or give in to the fear that threatened to chase Jack away. As they danced, an undeniable truth emerged. Love was not easy. It took strength, vulnerability, and a willingness to confront the world together. With every beat of the music, the question pulsed deeper. Would they step forward into a future that felt right, or would the haunting judgment shatter their precious moment of connection? Just then, the door swung open, revealing a new figure, one who would unravel everything they had just begun to weave. Megan's eyes widened as the door swung open, her heart racing in her chest. A tall figure stepped in, the lights casting a halo around them. It was her cousin, Evelyn, who had always been a bit of a whirlwind, lighting up every room she entered. She wore a bold, flowing dress that mirrored her vibrant personality, and her presence instantly shifted the atmosphere in the room. "Surprise!" Evelyn called out, a bubbly smile lighting up her face as she swept through the crowd. Her arrival stirred a new wave of excitement, but even amidst the joy, Megan felt a twist of dread. How would Laura react to this unexpected interruption? Megan, Evelyn exclaimed, breaking the barrier of the dance floor and wrapping her arms around her cousin. I can't believe I found you here. You look stunning. Megan smiled, caught between the warmth of Evelyn's embrace and the chill of Laura's disapproval still lingering in the air. She glanced over at Jack, whose face had brightened at the sight of Evelyn. There was a genuine spark in his eyes, a reflection of the chaos that was unfolding around them, and it brought a shred of comfort back into her heart. Think of it as a mini reunion. Evelyn continued, her energy infectious. We should all celebrate tonight. Dance, laugh, enjoy, right? Laura rolled her eyes, clearly unimpressed. This isn't a party, Evelyn, she said sharply. This is a wedding. Evelyn's cheerful demeanor didn't waver. And that makes it all the more reason to have fun. Life is too short for judgments and old expectations. She placed a hand on Megan's shoulder, offering support against the tension. You're allowed to enjoy yourself, you know. Megan felt the push of Evelyn's words, a reminder that there was a lighter side to everything unfolding. She turned to Jack, who was smiling broadly now, in full support of the unfolding chaos. It was clear he loved the authenticity and freedom Ev urged into the moment. If you want to dance, then let us dance, Jack announced, lifting Megan's hand again and guiding her back to the rhythm. The music pulsed around them, encouraging movement as more guests joined in, creating a whirlwind of energy and laughter. Megan surrendered to the moment. With Jack leading, she twirled and laughed, finding solace in the dynamic atmosphere. The weight of her aunt's gaze lightened, even as Laura remained a looming shadow in the corner of her mind. But just as the weight began to lift, Evelyn leaned in closer to Megan, her expression shifting to one of concern. What was that all about earlier? She whispered, glancing towards Laura. It's nothing, Megan replied quickly, but Evelyn wasn't having it. It's clearly something. You know you deserve happiness, right? Don't let her ruin this for you. Megan met her cousin's gaze, feeling the fire of a challenge ignite. Laura's judgments echoed in her mind, but with Evelyn's presence, a new strength emerged. Maybe you're right, she finally said, determination settling in her chest. And as they danced, the world around them began to blur. The worries, the judgments, it all started to fade beneath the vibrant swell of music and motion. In that moment, Megan realized that happiness wasn't just in finding love. It was also in celebrating who she was in the face of adversity. But then suddenly, a hush fell over the crowd as someone else stepped through the entrance. Megan's stomach dropped as she recognized the newcomer. It was Evan, her former college crush, eyes locked on her with an intensity that sent her heart racing. What was he doing here? And did he know about Jack? Megan's heart raced, every beat punctuating the silence that had suddenly enveloped the room. Here he was, Evan, the last person she expected to see tonight, standing there like a memory brought to life. His gaze was locked onto hers with a magnetism that pulled her from the buoyancy of dancing and laughter. She felt a ripple of anxiety mix with an old, familiar warmth inside her. Jack noticed the shift in her demeanor. You okay? He asked, genuine concern written all over his face. Megan forced a smile, but her eyes remained glued to Evan, who was now moving toward her. Every step he took felt like a step backward in time. Memories flooded her mind, the late-night study sessions, shared jokes, and the chemistry they once had. Had things changed? Or would the feelings still linger as strongly as they did before? Hi, Megan, Evan said, his voice smooth as velvet, breaking through the haze of her thoughts. Hey, Evan, she managed to reply, her voice barely above a whisper. The air crackled with tension. Jack shifted uncomfortably beside her, and a flicker of uncertainty crossed Evan's face. He glanced at Jack, then back at her. I didn't expect to see you here, Evan continued, his expression softening. You look amazing. Thanks, Megan said, blushing slightly. She tried to read his face, searching for any hints about how he felt. Did he know she was with someone else? Did he care? Evelyn, ever perceptive, stepped forward and interrupted the moment. Evan, what brings you to this wedding? Thought you were off in the world doing big things. Evan chuckled, a slight twinkle in his eye. Just thought I'd come celebrate some love and maybe run into an old friend. His smile was disarming, and Megan felt her knees weaken for a moment. Jack stepped in, confidence sparking through him as he extended his hand. I'm Jack, by the way. Megan estate. The way he emphasized the last word didn't go unnoticed, but Megan also felt a surge of protectiveness from him. Evan shook Jack's hand but kept his eyes on Megan. Nice to meet you, he replied, a slight edge of tension cooking in his voice. The atmosphere shifted again. Jack turned back to Megan, concern creeping into his eyes. You okay? Yeah, I didn't expect to see him. She took a deep breath, grounding herself. It's fine, really. The warmth from the dance floor began to seep back in her veins. Are you going to introduce me, Megan? Evelyn nudged. Her curiosity piqued. With a slight nudge from her cousin, Megan felt the need to reclaim the moment. Evan, this is Evelyn. My cousin. She watched as they exchanged casual pleasantries, feeling a mix of comfort and unease. Then suddenly, her defiance bubbled to the surface. How has your life been? Have you been traveling? Megan asked, forcing herself to sound enthusiastic. A flicker of surprise crossed Evan's face. Actually, I've been working back home. Took a break from all that. His eyes twinkled, and for a moment, the cogs of hesitation felt like they were turning again. The music shifted into a slower beat, enveloping them in a romantic cocoon. Jack squeezed her hand gently, reminding her of the warmth they shared. Megan, would you like to dance? He asked, still holding her gaze. Evan's expression shifted, just a hint of something deeper lurking in his eyes. You dance well. I remember that. Megan took a step back, weighing the choices that loomed large before her. The past versus the present. The nervous energy tinged with excitement. Would she step back into a familiar rhythm with Evan, or would she embrace this new bond with Jack? Before she could respond, Evelyn broke the tension again. Come on, Megan. Let us show Evan how it's done. With a blend of nerves and exhilaration, Megan finally made a choice. She turned her head slightly, a small smile on her lips. I'd love to. As she moved toward Jack, the intensity of Evan's stare hung on her. But the moment felt charged with possibilities, like the first hint of dawn breaking through the night. What would Evan think when he saw them dance? And how would this night, now tangled in memories and revelations, transform her heart? As Megan stepped away from Evan, she felt the dance floor call to her like a siren song. Jack wrapped his arms around her waist, pulling her close as they swayed to the music. The world around them became a blur, and all she could focus on was the warmth of Jack's body against hers. She could feel his heartbeat, steady and reassuring, as they moved together. Evan's presence lingered in the back of her mind, but right now, she allowed herself to be swept away, thinking of nothing but the moment. Jack whispered something playful in her ear, and she couldn't help but laugh. The sound broke through her nervousness like sunlight piercing through clouds. You really have got moves, he said mischievously, pretending to spin her. Megan giggled, rolling her eyes playfully. I might have been hiding some secret salsa lessons. As they continued to dance, she could see Evan leaning against the bar, nursing a drink. His expression was unreadable. Was it nostalgia? Regret? She forced herself to look away, grounding her thoughts in Jack. He was here, present and engaged, willing to share this moment with her. But a part of her couldn't help stealing glances. Each time she caught sight of Evan's charming smile, it sent a shiver through her spine. She shook her head, refusing to let the past creep back in. There was a spark with Jack, one she couldn't ignore. Are you okay? You seem a little distracted, Jack said, his brow furrowing as he caught her gaze darting to the side. Yeah, I just didn't think I'd see Evan here. The truth hung in the air. Jack gently cupped her face, his touch warm and steady. You're with me tonight. Focus on us. His certainty washed over her like a balm. You're right, she replied, forcing her focus back to him. I want to be here with you. As the song transitioned to a soft ballad, Jack leaned in, brushing his lips against her temple. The gesture sent a warmth streaking through her, solidifying the connection they had. In the corner of her eye, she saw Evan talking animatedly with Evelyn, laughter spilling over the distance. Did he look somewhat happy? A hint of jealousy tugged at her heart. Shouldn't she be thrilled for him, too? Considering how much had once been shared between them, the dance felt charged, the air thick with unspoken words. Megan, Jack interrupted her thoughts, pulling her attention back completely. Want to take a break? Get some air? Yes, that sounds nice. They stepped outside, the cool night air wrapping around them like a gentle embrace. A soft glow from nearby string lights illuminated the small patio. Jack leaned against the railing, and Megan followed suit, taking a moment to breathe deeply, calming her racing thoughts. "This is beautiful," she said, looking at the stars. "Yes, it really is," Jack replied, his gaze on her rather than the view. "But it's even prettier with you here." Her heart fluttered. This was the sweetness she craved. But as she turned to look at him, her mind flickered back to Evan again, a whirl of uncertainty stifling the joy she felt with Jack. "Megan," Jack began, a hint of seriousness threading through his tone, "I know tonight is special for more than one reason. I want to respect your feelings. If you need to talk about Evan or anything," the sincerity in his voice struck her. How he knew her so well already. "Thank you, Jack, it's just complicated." At that moment, a sharp laugh echoed from inside. They both turned to see Evan leaving the dance floor, his eyes darting toward her again. The flash of emotion in his gaze stopped Megan's breath. She felt the weight of a decision hanging over her. Where did her loyalty lie? As Evan approached, Megan felt the ground shift beneath her feet. "Hey," he said, his voice cutting through the moment. "Can we talk?" Her heart raced at the unexpected turn. What did he want? Did she even want to know? Standing between Jack and Evan, two pivotal chapters of her life, she felt torn. Would she choose the familiar thrum of past affections, or keep her gaze locked on the new possibilities growing beside her? The question lingered, her heart brimming with uncertainty. What would she say, and how would it change everything? Megan's breath hitched at Evan's request. The world around her faded, the music inside muted, leaving just the weight of that moment a dissonance splitting her heart into two. Jack shifted beside her, sensing the change in atmosphere. Yeah, I guess so," she finally managed, her voice barely above a whisper. It was strange how her pulse quickened as Evan stepped closer, his face illuminated under the string lights, the shadows of their past swirling in the corners. "We just need to talk," Evan insisted, glancing at Jack, who was now tense, his protective instincts sharpening. "Megan and I were just—" Jack began, but Evan's soft yet firm gaze silenced him. "Please." The plead sounded so familiar. Megan's heart twisted. She remembered how Evan's voice used to wrap around her like a warm embrace, until it became cold and hollow. Tentatively, she nodded. "Let us walk." As Megan and Evan moved away from Jack, the cool night air felt heavy with uncertainty. The stars above twinkled brightly, but they didn't offer much comfort. She fought against an urge to look behind her at Jack, who stood alone, watching with an expression she couldn't quite gauge. Was it concern? Jealousy? Perhaps a mix of both. "Megan, I've missed you," Evan said softly, breaking the silence as they strolled beneath the twinkling lights. His tone wrapped around her, both familiar and foreign. "I miss talking to you too," she admitted, the truth ringing in her chest. "But it's not the same anymore, you know that. Things have changed." He looked straight ahead. "I've changed. It felt too rushed, too soon." "You mean since we broke up?" Evan stopped and faced her, the intensity in his green eyes searching. "I was really living before, Megan. I was stuck. And now, I think I'm finally figuring it out." "I'm just figuring what out?" Megan interrupted, her voice rising a bit. "You think it was easy for me? I had to rebuild everything." Evan's expression softened. "I know, and I'm sorry for hurting you. I just want a chance to explain, to show you I'm different." Her heart ached. The memories rushed back, the laughter, the planning, the dreams they had built together, so many of which had crumbled at their feet. "What is different?" she challenged, unable to suppress the tremor in her voice. Was it the moment you decided to walk away? Or after you found someone new? The shadows played across Evan's features, but there was no defense. I was wrong. I can't change that. What I felt for you. It was real, but I was scared of it. Scared of what it meant. When I left, I thought it would be easier. A knot formed in her stomach. And now, you realize that maybe what we had was good? I couldn't see it then, he admitted, bringing his fingers to his temples as if he could rub away the past. But since I've seen you with Jack, it broke something in me. I wanted to talk. Wanted you to know you deserve more. Reality hit hard. Jack's face crept into her thoughts as laughter. The way he looked at her, and a part of her flickered with guilt. This wasn't fair. Megan. Evan reached for her, a plea etched onto his face. What if we could try again? If you could just give me a moment to show you. She pulled back, shaking her head. You don't get to make that choice for me. The wind picked up, rustling leaves around them, echoing the tempest inside her. Megan's heart was caught in a whirlwind. The past clashed against the undeniable connection she had forged with Jack, a newer, fresher promise of happiness. Evan's voice was strained. I just want to understand. I need you to see that I want us to find our way back. The vulnerability in his voice made her hesitate. Yet, deep down, she felt the quiet alarm bells ringing. This was not who she wanted anymore. But how could she explain that to him? How could she disentangle their shared history from the reality she was trying to build with Jack? As she stood there, contemplating her next move, a sudden realization washed over her. She was nearing a crossroad, one that could reshape everything. Megan? Evan's call echoed like both a warning and a plea. She took a deep breath, feeling every tendency to return to the comfort of past love tangling with the exhilarating unknown. I need time, she said at last, her resolve strengthening. To think about everything. The silence that followed was thunderous, but before she could turn back to Jack, the warmth at her back faded suddenly, leaving her with heavy uncertainty about what was to come. Just know, Evan's voice trembled. I won't give up without a fight. How do you fight for something you let go? Megan wondered as Jack's gaze pierced her from across the patio. Anticipation and worry painted on his face. The space between them felt vast, and as every doubt filled her mind, she wasn't sure any choice was easy. What she did know, however, was that this moment was just the beginning of a much larger battle. Standing there, torn between the past and future, the air shimmered with possibility, and she wasn't sure which path would truly lead her to her heart's desire. Megan stood frozen, her heart racing as she absorbed Evan's words. The air felt thick, charged with tension. She could see Jack's concerned face, the way his brow furrowed and his lips pressed tightly together. Another knot tightened in her stomach. He loved her, and she could feel the gravity of that love weighing down on her, making the air temperature feel like ice. Megan, Evan's pleading tone broke through her tumultuous thoughts. Please don't shut me out. I know I messed up, but I'm here now. I want to meet you halfway. I need you to understand, she replied, her voice steadier than she felt. You didn't just walk away. You left a hollow space in my heart. I had to fill it, Evan. And now I don't know what you intend for us. He stiffened but nodded, as if he expected this. I just want to show you everything I've learned. I'm scared too. It's not easy reopening this door. Megan struggled to find the right response. With each passing moment, the weight of Evan's emotions pressed against her defenses. She thought of the tender moments she had shared with Jack, his laughter echoing through her mind, the warmth of his touch igniting a glow in her heart. Yet here was Evan, full of remorse and vulnerability, tugging at the threads of their past. Do you think it's fair to Jack? Megan blurted out suddenly, her eyes locking onto Evan's. To me? To everyone involved? The emotion in her voice surprised even her. She took a deep breath as Evan flinched. I can't control how you feel for him, and I don't expect you to forget me. His voice trembled slightly. But can't you just give me a chance to prove that I've changed? The sincerity in his voice caught her off guard. She felt a peaking hope mixed with confusion. Could the boy she once loved truly be back? Yet the thought of Jack, standing there like a lighthouse guiding her home, made her heart ache with guilt. I don't know, Evan, she said quietly, her gaze dropping to the ground. What if trying again means risking everything I've rebuilt? With Jack, it feels solid. Then let it be solid, Evan urged, his voice urgent yet shaky. You owe it to yourself to explore both paths fully. You deserve to be happy, Megan. She glanced over her shoulder. Jack was watching her. He looked like he was trying to read her mind, the concern in his eyes deepening. The flicker of warmth from his gaze sparked a timid strength inside her. Megan hesitated, her heart pounding as she turned back to Evan. I can't make any promises. Just tell me, Megan, is there still something between us? Even just a flicker? Evan's question hung in the air, heavy with possibility. She closed her eyes, searching her heart for an answer. A flicker, perhaps, but the warmth that her connection with Jack brought overshadowed it. Megan. Jack's voice was louder now, full of urgency. Talk to me, please. She opened her eyes, meeting Evan's gaze one last time. The power of old feelings danced on the tip of her tongue, heavy with the weight of memories, but Jack's steady presence pulled her away from the brink. I have to figure this out, she said finally. I can't do it right now. The look on Evan's face hurt mixed with understanding made her heart twist. Okay, Evan replied softly, stepping back, his shoulders slumping slightly. Just know I'll be here when you're ready to talk. As Megan turned back toward Jack, she could see the hope in his eyes flickering like the patio lights above them. She felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. Jack was here. He had waited for her through all the storms. Are you okay? He asked, concern filling his voice. Yeah, she breathed out, a lump forming in her throat. No, I don't know. Jack stepped closer, wrapping his arms around her, grounding her. Whatever it is, we'll figure out together. In that moment, as she settled into Jack's warm embrace, the tangled emotions inside her swirled more fervently than ever. The decisions ahead could change everything. Yet in that flickering world between past promises and present warmth, one thought echoed her mind. Would she choose to confront the shadows of her past or embrace the light that Jack offered? And as their eyes met, uncertainty lingered like a fragile thread, stretching taut across the distance of her heart's desire. What would she decide, and what would the ripple effects of her choice be? Megan pulled away from Jack's embrace, the warmth still lingering on her skin. She felt exposed, like a raw nerve in the midst of a storm. Jack's gaze was steady, but she worried about the crackling tension in the air. The shadows of the past loomed large, and the flicker Evan had asked about felt dangerously bright within her. I'm just confused, she admitted, her voice trembling. It's hard to untangle these feelings when both of you mean so much to me. Jack stepped back slightly, giving her the space to breathe. Megan, take your time. I want to rush you. You deserve to figure out what you want. His honesty cut right through her, but the guilt clawed at her. Here she was, weighing her heart against the happiness Jack had built for them. The image of Evan's remorseful eyes pressed heavily on her mind. What if I end up hurting you? She whispered, feeling the tears prick at her eyes. What if I can't choose? Jack's expression softened. Sometimes the hardest choices are the ones that shape us the most. You have to choose what feels right for you, not what feels easy. There was a firmness in his voice, layered with understanding. Megan nodded, trying to gather the thoughts swirling in her head. They had created a life together built on laughter, companionship, and trust, yet Evan's return had dredged up old wounds. I can't help but think of the past, she murmured. But Jack, you're my present. You're enough. God, this is so complicated. It doesn't have to be, Jack said gently, taking her hand. Let us take it one step at a time. Maybe we can talk it out. No judgments, just trying to figure it out. His simplicity offered a fragile sense of comfort. Okay, she whispered, squeezing his hand. But in her heart, uncertainty still flickered like a candle on the verge of going out. I want to be here for you, Jack continued. But I also don't want to blindside you. If you need to explore what this means with Evan, we can do that. Her stomach nodded. The thought of hurting Jack gnawed at her like a persistent ache. I don't want to explore, she whispered, her voice cracking. I want to move on. Then let us do that together, he said softly, his thumb brushing across her knuckles. She looked up, meeting his sincere gaze. There was so much love there, but also the potential for heartbreak. The shadows of her past didn't just threaten Evan, they threatened Jack too. I just wish I could clear my head, she admitted. Let us take a walk, Jack suggested, breaking through her spiral of thoughts. Maybe some fresh air will help. As they stepped outside, the cool night wrapped around them. The stars glimmered above, a million tiny lights illuminating their path. She focused on the rhythm of their footsteps, the sounds of the night muffled under the weight of her worries. What is your favorite memory of us? Jack asked, interrupting her thoughts. His eyes flicked to her, a hint of a smile on his lips. She hesitated, flooded with so many moments that swirled together. There's so many. She thought of the times they shared secrets over late-night ice cream and laughter echoing in the park. Yet one stood out vividly: the first time Jack had surprised her with a picnic under the cherry blossoms. The way he looked at her, as if she were the most important person in the world. That one, she said softly. It felt so perfect. Jack's smile widened. You made it perfect, too. A wave of warmth washed over her, mingling with the shadows still lurking in her heart. But what if she started, hesitating as doubt crept in again? Whatever comes next, we can face it together, he reassured her. You're not alone. Just as she was starting to believe him, a figure appeared in the distance, illuminated by the streetlights. Evan. Her heart raced, caught between the warmth of Jack's hand in hers and the undeniable pull of the past. The confrontation she had hoped to avoid was coming to a head. Would she be prepared to confront what lay ahead? Or would it rip apart the delicate fabric of her present? Jack, she whispered, fear growing in her chest as Evan approached. I think he is here too. Talk. Megan's breath hitched as Evan drew closer, a shadow stretching over the memories they once shared. She could feel Jack's grip tighten around her hand, anchoring her to the present and reminding her of the warmth between them. But the past, with its haunting whispers, surged forward. Megan, Evan called softly, his voice rising above the murmur of the night. There was the familiar timbre that had once calmed her storms. But now, it only amplified her anxiety. Jack, she murmured again, more urgently this time, her heart hammering against her chest. She searched his face, hoping for assurance, for a plan to navigate this rocky intersection of the past and present. Just breathe, he said softly, grounding her. Evan was almost upon them, his expression an odd mix of hesitance and determination. Megan's stomach knotted as his eyes met hers, brimming with unspoken words, the weight of history palpable between them. Megan, can we talk? Evan asked, glancing briefly at Jack before fixing his gaze on her. His vulnerability struck her. Please. The quiet plea lanced through her. Part of her wanted to recoil, to shield herself from the feelings he stirred. Yet, another part longed for closure, the answers that had eluded her for so long swirling at the edges of her consciousness. Jack released her hand slowly, taking a step back, as if sensing her internal conflict. I'll be right here, he reassured her, his voice steady. Though he appeared calm, she could see the tension around his eyes, the briefest flicker of pain sparking beneath the surface. Megan turned back to Evan. What do you want to talk about? The weight of their shared past hung in the air, heavy with regret and memories that felt both close and impossibly distant. I need to know if we can make sense of this, he said, gesturing between them. I didn't come back to disrupt your life, but I can't shake this feeling that there's still something here. She wanted to shout that he was wrong, that everything had changed, but the truth clawed at her insides. You left, Evan, she said, her voice cracking. You left me when I needed you. I know, he admitted, the honesty in his eyes cutting deep. But I've thought about you every day since. I made mistakes, Megan, and I've learned. I want to explain, I want to fight for us, if you'll let me. She felt the world tilting on its axis. Jack's quiet presence felt like a lifeline. Yet here was Evan, knocking at the door of her heart, seeking entry into a past that had almost faded. What about Jack? She whispered, desperate for clarity. You don't get to just walk in and shake my life up again. Evan's expression changed to one of realization, a flash of guilt in his eyes. I didn't mean to, I swear. I just can't pretend like there's nothing between us. Is there still something? Megan challenged, her heart racing as she tried to sort through the wreckage of her feelings. Let me show you. Evan's words hung in the air, electric with possibility and peril. Megan looked between Jack and Evan. She felt the tension rise like a storm cloud building overhead. She had to make a choice, and fast. Guys, she started, but the uncertain weight of the moment clashed around her as both men waited for her answer, their faces lit by the streetlights that sparkled like stars gone dim. The path forward was murky, but as she caught Jack's gaze, something fierce ignited within her. Maybe clarity wouldn't come easy, but she owed it to her heart to search for it. Would she dare to confront the feelings Evan was reigniting, or would she safeguard the fragile love she had with Jack? The weight of her decision pressed down, thunder rumbling in the distance. As she realized she might have to confront more than just her feelings, she could end up confronting herself. Maybe she began, her voice barely above a whisper, each word saturated with doubt. Maybe I need to understand before I choose. Megan took a deep breath, the tension swirling around her like a thick fog. Jack stood a few paces back, his expression a mix of concern and hurt, while Evan's hopeful gaze held her captive. The cacophony from inside the venue faded away, leaving only the sound of her heart beating against her ribcage. Could she really go back to the past? Megan, Evan ventured, his voice breaking through the silence. I know I hurt you, but I can't shake the feeling that we never really ended. Not fully. The vulnerability in his tone tugged at her, but she couldn't ignore the reassuring warmth of Jack's presence that filled the space around her. She turned to him, taking in the way his eyes searched hers, pleading for her to stay anchored in their moment. Jack, his gaze softened. You don't owe me anything right now. Just be honest with yourself. The truth felt heavy, but it was time to lighten the load. Evan, it's not as simple as it used to be. Yes, we shared something. It felt great at the time, but life changed. I changed. So you're happy? Evan pressed, his green eyes intense. I am with Jack. The honesty in her voice came spilling out. He makes me happy in ways I never thought possible. I laugh more. I feel seen. I feel safe. Evan's voice sliced through, the hurt evident. She hesitated, the tension palpable. Yes, safe. He respects me. She stepped closer to Jack, heart pounding. And I don't want to risk losing that. Jack clenched his jaw, a flash of hurt crossing his face. It struck her how difficult this was for him, the silent battle he fought while she tethered herself in uncertain emotions. Evan took a step back, clearly shaken. But I can be better. I want the chance to show you. Megan looked back at Jack, who stood resolute, unwavering despite the storm brewing inside. I don't need to be shown, she said softly, feeling the warmth of Jack's hand brushing across her back. Because I'm here now. I want to embrace what's in front of me. I'm right here if you want me, Jack added, the strength in his words wrapping around her like a blanket. You don't have to fight for this. I'll stand by you while you figure this out. Megan, Evan said, his voice cracking, don't throw away what we had. It's not that simple, she replied, her voice rising. The moment you walked away, you gave me the space I needed to grow. And for that, I'm grateful. Evan interrupted, as he struggled to suppress a mixture of anger and heartbreak. Her expression hardened slightly. Yes, grateful, because I found something real with Jack. That is something you can't take from me. Her heart raced as she made the final push. You don't get to come back and rewrite history. The air thickened with tension, Evan remaining silent as if her words had knocked the wind out of him. Behind her, Jack took a small step forward, gently wrapping his arms around her. She leaned into him, allowing the comfort of his embrace to swallow her worries whole. Maybe we both need to find closure, she continued, leveling her gaze with Evan's. But for now, I have to prioritize what makes me the happiest. Evan looked at her, a storm of emotions crossing his face. I just wanted to let you know I've changed. Megan felt tears prick at her eyes, emotions very much alive. And I believe you. I really do. But I need to explore this life I've built, without wondering about the past. She glanced at Jack, finding strength in his steady presence. Then go, Evan finally said, raw and resolute. He took a step back, giving her the space to breathe. But just know I'll always care for you. Thank you, Evan, she replied, her voice softening. She turned to Jack, who looked down at her with unwavering sincerity. So what now? Megan asked, her heart a mix of hope and fear. What now? Jack said, a gentle smile slowly spreading on his face. It's getting late, and I want to show you something. He nodded toward the horizon where stars twinkled like forgotten promises. Let us go. A weight began to lift from her shoulders as they walked away from the past. The moon cast a soft glow as they moved forward, hand in hand. Life felt right again. Weeks later, Megan stood under the cherry blossoms brighter than she remembered, enveloped in the beauty of a fresh start. Jack's playful laughter danced through the air, and she couldn't help but smile. Ready to dance? He asked, holding out his hand. Always, she replied, taking his hand. As they twirled under the blossoms, the air buzzed with possibilities. Love wasn't just about the fleeting moments of the past. It was about the connection they were building now. Their laughter filled the air, the joyous echoes a testimony to the choices she had made. Leaving the shadows behind, Megan embraced the light, the love she had always longed for. Together, they forged their path, a future shining brightly before them. And in that warmth, she found peace. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Every click counts. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Want to hear from you? Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait, not even one more second to share. Let us spread the love together.